Hi there, this is David, and recently, Square Enix announced that Dragon Quest III HD2D is coming out very soon, and we got a wealth of information on it. A lot of people went and they played it, and I watched a lot of their videos, I read a lot of articles and all that kind of stuff, and I kind of compiled together everything that we now know about Dragon Quest III HD. This is like one of my favorite games of all time, and I do think that that is worth a sub, as I am trying my hardest to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and with your help, I think that I can make it. But first, before we do get started going into this Dragon Quest goodness, let's have a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Yowling Mystical Journey, an Eastern-themed creature-collecting adventure RPG, where, driven by your destiny, you play as a Yowling Keeper, where you document the lives and evolutions of more than 300 different Yowlings, and you're tasked with collecting tokens from the various schools to reunite the Yowling Keeping Association. In order to do this, though, you'll need to seek out some companions to fight alongside you. But as you do, you will find that beneath the seemingly harmonious facade of the world, a dark force stirs, and the once peaceful Yowlings are becoming increasingly restless and uneasy. And you can see this all for yourself, as the free demo is now available over on Steam, and it showcases about an hour and a half's worth of gameplay, as well as dozens of Yowlings, school challenges, and battles with the fellow Yowling Keepers, not to mention the chance to even encounter an ultra-rare shiny Yowling. The land of the Ancient is massive, with a large open world, full of diversions, like fishing, farming, crafting, and cooking. Or, if you'd like, you can go off the beaten track and then find those hidden demon encounters. So come on, and let's all take up the challenge together as you set your Yowlings lineup and strategies for the battle and answer the call. And you can try out this free demo for yourself just by clicking on the links below. And while you're there, be sure to add Yowling Mystical Journey to your wishlist. And now with that, let's get on back to today's video. Well, thank you for that. Let's talk about my favorite NES game of all time now, Dragon Quest III. This has been released on a ton of different consoles over the years. There were the original on the NES back in 1992, then it was remade for the SNES, but we never got that one here in America. But we did get the Game Boy Color version of the game. The most notable change that was created in the SNES version of the game was the addition of the Thief job class. They also added in other things, cheesy tracks, mini medals, all sorts of other stuff, but all that was also added into the Game Boy Color port, in addition to monster medals and some bonus dungeons. However, those monster medals and the bonus dungeons were taken out of the mobile and the Switch versions of the game, and quite honestly, those versions kind of look awful. So this is definitely going to be the definitive way to play. And now I want to show you something. I want to show you the old trailer that we first got a couple of years back when this was first announced. Look at it. Go over it, because this is going to be releasing on November 14th for the PS5, Xbox, and PC. And it's going to be running on those systems at 60 frames per second. Though if you do open it up in graphics mode, it'll be running at 30 frames per second. However, the Switch will always be running at 30 frames per second. Now, I want to show you the new trailer. See the difference there? See that? So much has changed. The viewpoint is now behind you. The town of Eliahan is huge. Everything just looks immersive. It looks great. It looks expansive. There are two ways that you can play this game. You can buy the standard edition for $60 or the collector's edition for $200. The collector's edition is a Square Enix store exclusive. It's going to end up costing you, if you're anything like me, about $226 after taxes, and shipping costs are included. The standard edition comes with a pre-order bonus called the Trouble-Free Travel Kit. And the real reason to get this pre-order bonus is really the elevating shoes. This was an extraordinarily rare drop in the original game. It came from like a metal babble. I think it was like a 1 in 256 chance for this drop. The reason for it is it gives you 1 experience point per step. And normally you get that at like the very end of the game. But here you can now get that at the very beginning of the game. And that is a game changer. And if you know anything about leveling in Dragon Quest III, you know that you want your mages and your pilgrims to get levels because they level up pretty slowly. So make sure that you stick those elevating shoes on them. Then you might want to go ahead and give it to your hero after you do the class change. In addition to that, you're going to get a suite of seeds. Strength, defense, agility, life, and magic seeds as well. Now, if you want to go for the collector's edition, though, you're going to be getting a couple of different things in addition to that trouble-free travel kit. You're going to be getting the physical game. You're going to be a collectible game storage box for both games, both Dragon Quest III and Dragon Quest 1 and 2, because that was announced for release next year. We don't have a date for that, though. It's been released next year. Also, you're going to be getting acrylic blocks of all sorts of acrylics of all the characters, the job classes, the monsters, and the Dragon Quest III logo. There's a bunch of them, so if you're into the acrylics and all that, that would be a good thing to have. Unfortunately, there is no poster. There is no 80-page manual, because in the original version of the game back on the NES, we got a two-sided poster. We got an 80-page instruction manual that also doubled as a strategy guide. It literally took you all the way from the beginning of the game all the way up to the end of the game, complete with maps, everything, shop lists, hints and tips. It was fan-frickin-tastic. So if any of you today say, oh, well, back in the day, we never had a guide for any of these games, you might want to look at some old instruction manuals, because a lot of RPGs had guides in them. Dragon Quest III was no exception. Now, you're also going to be getting some other kind of DLC type stuff. Ring of Strength for attack power, Dragon Scale for defense power, a cat suit, which changes your appearance. It's kind of a rare thing. It increases your defense by 35, whatever. I think it's like a goof-off thing. The main thing, though, is that you get a Words of Wisdom. Don't know what a Words of Wisdom is? What if I called it a Zen book? Or a Book of Satori? Now do you know what it is? Yeah! This allows you to class change into a sage! This is super duper rare. There was only one of these in the original NES version of the game. There was 2 in the other remakes. Now, if you do this, you will have 3 Books of Satori in order to get 3 sages. That is amazing. There's also some exclusive digital wallpapers that you can grab as well. So, let's talk about what's old and what's new, what is classic and what has changed. The storyline that we all know and love is intact. This is the beginning of the Erdrick trilogy, and you set off to travel the world, you and 3 other party members, and you can choose from all sorts of different job classes. Your fighter, which is essentially like your martial artist, is really fast, has a lot of critical hits and things like that. Your soldier, which is your big, tanky, defensive character, also pretty good at attacking. Your merchant, who can grab gold and stuff after battles, can find items, he can dig for items, he can call shops and stuff. He's different. The goof-off, who really just is a goof-off, he sucks, he can whistle for monsters, but at level 20 he can turn into a sage. The thief, who can attack groups of enemies with his whips and also steal some items. Then the wizard, who's your black mage, and the pilgrim, who's your white mage. But in this version of the game, there is a new job class called the Beastmaster. We don't really know anything about the Beastmaster, quite honestly. We do know that it is here. It was first introduced in Dragon Quest VI, and there he was able to tame monsters and bring them onto your team. And I don't think that you're going to be able to recruit monsters like that, but he might be able to do breath attacks like fire breath, sleep breath, dream breath, poison breath, things like that. We don't really know, but that would be interesting. I'm definitely going to be having him in my party, though, to try him out. So you're going to be traveling the world, which is our world, going to the pyramids, going to Japan, going to Portugal or Portugal, going to Romilly or Rome. You're going to be sailing around, gathering up orbs, getting the flying bird Ramia, and not to spoil anything, but, just saving the world. So that's what's old. What's new? We have an all-new orchestration by the Tokyo Metropolitan Symphony Orchestra. A lot of people always like to complain about Dragon Quest music. They think that it's rote and stupid or whatever, but I always like it. I think it's fantastic. In fact, when I'm writing my scripts, I normally turn on Dragon Quest music, and I just kind of veg out to it as I write my scripts, So that's really neat. All the monsters have brand new animations, and the overworld is filled with brand new treasures and shinies. In fact, what is that? That right there. Do you see that right there? What is that? What is that? I have to know. There are shinies all around the world map, as well as new obstacles and challenges to explore, according to Square Enix. It's also fully voice acted with English and Japanese voice acting, and an optional pop-up map that you can use to track your progress so you're never going to get lost like you might have in the previous games. So whenever you put down, your game for a week or two, you might want to pick it up, hit the pop-up map and say, oh, okay, I need to go over here in order to get my next destination. That is completely optional though. There's an auto battle settling. There are tactics that you can choose from, like save MP, use no MP, defensive, offensive, those sorts of things. There's fast forwarding in the battles. That is great. There's also new difficulty modes, an easy mode, a normal mode, and a hard mode too, as well as saving. Instead of having to trudge your little bum all the way up to the king, now you can save at the church, just like you could starting in Dragon Warrior 4. There's also an auto-save feature too, which it's just the quality of life features. It helps out so much. They've also fully fleshed out the entire narrative and refined it and fine-tuned it so that it ties in a little bit better with the trilogy. Because, this is important, you used to play the games in order of release, 1, 2, 3. Now here, you're playing them chronologically, 3, 1, 2. So they had to change the story just a little bit, just to make it make a little bit more sense. But this here is the definitive way to play, and I cannot wait to see it in action whenever it does release. Now I want to know what you feel about this game. Are you excited for it? What changes do you want to see? What do you think that the Beastmaster is going to have? And also, do you think that those monster medals from the Game Boy Color version of the game are going to be here again? I don't know. We don't know that, but I'm hoping it is. If it's the definitive way to play, it should be here. Hopefully. Let me know in the comments, and as always, have a good day.